Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hey guys, good evening. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Be sure to check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, including the JMOR Tech Talk Show and also Inspirations for Your Life and so much other great content that I don't have time to get into right now, but definitely check it out after the show. All right, guys, welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It's great to be with you. In case you guys are new, every week we start with Monday and we end with Sunday. And we take a tech topic and kind of give you a little bit of a, let's say, a little teaser about it. Then on the show, we get a lot deeper into it. All right. So the title for tonight's show is Tech Turbulence, Navigating Privacy, Innovation, and Cybersecurity Challenges. We're on Series 3, and we're on show number 32. Welcome, 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 and welcome, everyone. It's so great to have you here. All right. Well, TikTok faces a lawsuit for child privacy violations. What the heck is going on here, guys? Well, when we think about the whole thing, what's going on with TikTok and, what they've been doing, it's not a secret to, what they've been doing. I think that's probably the most important thing I want to share with you. It's not a secret, but they've been getting in some hot water. So TikTok was sued for massive invasion of child privacy. The U.S. government has filed a lawsuit against TikTok, accusing it of unlawfully, quote unquote, collecting children's data and obstructing parental efforts to delete their children's accounts, violating child privacy laws. The Department of Justice characterized TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance, as, quote unquote, repeat offenders, citing previous similar cases and inadequate screening methods for underage users. TikTok disputes the allegations, claiming proactive efforts to protect children are in place, such as default screen time limits and enhanced privacy measures. This lawsuit, though, intensifies pressure on TikTok and ByteDance, which are already under scrutiny by the U.S. government. So they really can't afford to, make any more mistakes, or the European Union's ready to throw them out. We know that's very, very close. And so I think it's important to understand, what's going on, but we need to be cognizant of these things, and we need to make sure our voice is heard. This is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. But TikTok, ladies and gentlemen, yes, TikTok is in hot water because of kids, and it's a problem. It's really, really a problem. And, the privacy issues that they're facing is a big, big challenge. And the thing is, preventing things like child sexual abuse on TikTok, sexual assault, eating disorders, bullying, prevention, that's all great. But TikTok is not safe because the users are not really being screened. And so, why are so many little kids following TikTok? Most children follow random accounts on TikTok because their parents aren't really monitoring them using the app. So they do it. TikTok was hit with, record fines, we know, back in February 28th of 2019, and it kept going on and on and on and on. But the TikTok case with privacy in 2024 is big. It's a very, very big case. The FTC investigation is leading to a lawsuit against TikTok and ByteDance for flagrantly, they quote unquote, basically have decided to violate children's privacy laws. And, on behalf of the Federal Trade Commission, the Department of Justice sued video sharing platform TikTok, its parent company ByteDance, as well as its affiliated companies for violating the child privacy laws. And the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act also alleged they infringed an existing FTC 2019 consent order against TikTok for violating COPPA. So the complaint alleges defendants failed to comply with the COPPA requirement to notify and obtain parental consent before collecting and using personal information from children under the age of 13. TikTok knowingly and repeatedly violated kids' privacy, threatening the safety of millions of children across the country. And this was said by the FTC chair, Lena M. Khan. The FTC will continue to use the full scope of its authorities to protect children online, especially as firms deploy increasingly sophisticated digital tools to surveil kids and profit from their data. I mean, that's just really terrible. The Justice Department is committed to upholding parents' ability to protect their children's privacy, and they're working on this, but this is not going to end very soon. So we'll keep you in the loop to what's happening there, guys, but it's just not pretty. It's not a pretty thing. All right, and our next story talks about AI robot to enter hazardous environments. This is something that is it's really, really cool. It's something that you might not expect, but it's kind of going back to why robots were originally designed. I think that's the whole piece. Why were they designed? And it's important to understand this. So AI robots are venturing into hazardous areas, according to Oxford Dynamics, a startup based in Harville, Oxfordshire, has secured a £1 million contract with the MOD to develop Strider. It's a robot designed to operate in hazardous environments such as chemical, biological, or nuclear type environments. And founder Mike Lawton envisions producing thousands of these robots to replace humans in dangerous situations. Strider, equipped with a multi-jointed arm and tank-like treads, can retrieve contaminated objects and perform complex tasks in difficult terrains using advanced sensors. And the company plans to integrate AI software inspired by Jarvis from Iron Man and aims to adapt the technology for submarines and even fighter jets, fulfilling co-founder Shefali Sharma's entrepreneurial vision. So, when we think about this, you're probably saying, this is something that you read in science fiction. But the thing is, we want to protect human life. This is the real reason for all this. And I think a lot of people, they don't understand that, they could be put in harm's way. They don't necessarily want to get in harm's way, but they get put in harm's way. And so the whole point of this is that if we can save human lives, okay, then that's a great use of robots. Okay. Again, this robot's known as Strider. It's built to work amid chemical, biological, and nuclear type situations, including where there may be fatal radiation. Again, Mike Lawton, one of the company's directors, said, quote unquote, ultimately, let's be able to build 100, maybe 1,000 or 10,000 Strider robots for the benefit of the world. I think that's a great idea, but I think it's important that we don't lose focus to what the main mission is. And it's interesting because, he also made a quote, Mike Lawton, and he said, quote, rather than send a human in to deal with potentially deadly substances, let's send a machine in instead. And I have to give him a kudos to that. I think that's an amazing, statement, and to care about the human welfare, making sure people are okay. The company designed Strider in the past November, and it must deliver it to the Defense Science and Technology Laboratory by September for use with DEFRA. So that's another thing you might have heard of DEFRA before. DEFRA is basically Department for Environmental, Foods, and Rural Affairs. Yeah, say that a million times fast. The thing is, it can operate in difficult and unknown terrains using infrared as well as radar and LiDAR, which is light detection and ranging systems. So it's a pretty amazing type device. And again, it's not a robot like what you're thinking of a robot. This is more like a tank, and it has basically its onboard computer and its robot arm there. So this is pretty cool because it's able to navigate some very complex structures and be able to do things while saving human lives from them not getting in the line of fire that could cause issues. So we'll have to see what's happening, but I think these are definitely some good uses of technology. I definitely want to say that. And another news, massive digital crisis from cybersecurity update. How many of you guys remember, if I say this to you, what happened on July 19th? Yes, the biz on July 19th, 2024, a botched software update from a cybersecurity firm, which we all know by now, CrowdStrike. It caused a massive, and I mean massive global digital crisis, crashing 8.5 million. Let me say that number again, 8.5 million computers, and disrupted critical services like flights, hospital surgeries, and emergency services like that. And this event highlights the vulnerabilities in our increasingly internet-dependent infrastructure, with past incidents such as the 1997 network solutions glitch and more recent outages in Armenia and Canada serving as reminders. And experts are warning that such catastrophic failures are exacerbated by monopolistic control in the tech industry and are likely to reoccur again and again, underlying the need for built-in fail-safes and diversified digital infrastructures. This is just a history of some of the things that are going on. And I think a lot of people out there, feel that if we build a piece of technology, it's going to be flawless. Well, I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be flawless. There's a lot of R&D that has to go into making robots and making different types of technology that is going to work collaboratively. Let me say that again. Collaboratively. That means it's not going to work without humans. It's going to work collaboratively so that it can provide the data and things that it needs. And so it's important to understand, what's happening. But I think the biggest thing about this is that CrowdStrike just demonstrated how poorly run their company is. I mean, the question you might be asking is, what does CrowdStrike have to say about all this disruption? What do you think they have to say? Well, the thing that's interesting is that it was not a cyber attack. It was because of an update. And I don't know about you, but I think some serious answers need to be given. So with the channel file, I think it was 291, CrowdStrike inadvertently introduced a logic error causing the Falcon sensor to crash and subsequently Windows systems in which it was integrated. The flaw isn't in all versions of channel file 299. Well, big deal. A lot of people have the version that caused an issue. And so people say, why is CrowdStrike so good? CrowdStrike, well, they said they were the leader and the next generation endpoint protection and threat intelligence and responsive services. How can you be the leader or be any kind of protection of anything if you can't even keep yourself running? I mean, this demonstrates to me that the company is run poorly. And I can say this because this should have never gotten past Q&A. It should have never gotten past the testing computers. How to get out into the production world? I mean, come on. I mean, hello, right? So a lot of companies have lost trust in CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike does not specialize or offer any DLP directly. However, through the CrowdStrike store, users can integrate other solutions like Detect to monitor the platform's findings and CrowdStrike's user interface, and to augment investigations carried out through the CrowdStrike system. So the question is, does the U.S. government use CrowdStrike? So CrowdStrike is in wide use across federal agencies and is a key vendor on government-wide continuous diagnostic and mitigation cybersecurity support services and contracts. Well, I got to say something. If our country is being run by CrowdStrike and they made this much of a blunder, I mean, this was not like, we forgot to close the door when we went to the restroom, or, we forgot to charge the laptop because it ran out of battery power, or, we forgot to take the USB drive out while the computer was booting, right? Or we forgot to install a driver, right? It's a big issue. And people say, is CrowdStrike XDR, EDR? So with industry leading, they claim EDR at its core. CrowdStrike Falcon Insights XDR is synthesizing multi-domain telemetry into attack insights and alerts, enabling threat detection, investigation, hunting, and responses from one unified threat-centric command console. What is that? Single pane of glass. That's nothing new. There's a lot of people that have introduced that. So people say, is CrowdStrike better than other stuff? They say CrowdStrike has a stronger share than a lot of other software. I disagree with the fact that it's reliable software. Does Amazon use CrowdStrike? Well, CrowdStrike, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Is part of Amazon's strategy to secure the future of innovation across its businesses. That's terrible. What's CrowdStrike known for? Being an American cybersecurity technology company based in Austin, Texas, providing endpoint security, threat intelligence, and cyber attack response services. Does CrowdStrike operate in China? It does not sell products and services in China at all. So who's better than CrowdStrike? Everybody always asks that. And I'm not going to get into all the names right now. That's not what I'm going to talk about today. But the question is, can CrowdStrike be trusted? They claim they're accredited. They say their cybersecurity technology and solutions are trusted to safeguard thousands of organizations. And the Falcon platform is authorized under the Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program, FedRAMP. I think maybe our government, maybe our country needs to get their blank out of their butt and really look at a solution. Because myself being an engineer, this is what annoys me, when companies just go for something because of some quick presentation. Like, they don't do the due diligence. Okay. That's a big problem. A very big problem. And I can tell you, CrowdStrike shares, CRWD, have lost 28% since the bad software update from the cybersecurity company triggered the global impact of technological outages. So what does CrowdStrike see on my computer? So its job is to monitor what's happening on the computers on which it is installed, looking for signs of any kind of, let's say, suspicious activity, such as malware. Whenever it comes across something like this, it helps to lock down the threat. Who else uses CrowdStrike? MindPoint Group LLC, GuidePoint Security, Harvard Partners, TrustWave. TrustWave uses CrowdStrike. TrustWave is an American cybersecurity subsidiary of the Chertoff Group. It focuses on providing managed detection and response managed services and email security to organizations around the globe. Well, that just told me that I don't really have a lot of confidence in TrustWave. Integrity 365, Media Monks, JSCM. When they make that big of a mistake, I can't. You know what it reminds me? It's almost like, you've spent years to build trust with that friend of yours, and suddenly he or she does something and betrays your trust like that. Can you just go back to forgiving that person and taking the relationship to exactly where it was? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So the question is, why is CrowdStrike failing? So it hit an all-time high at the beginning of July, but because of a software defect, it sent shares plummeting down. And the company is being forced to pay for damages. I think what has to happen is CrowdStrike needs to develop a new SOP. And maybe they need to spend less time pushing their software out and more time trying to figure out how they can make their software more ironclad. Here's another interesting thing I thought you'd like to know. CrowdStrike, the company, was founded by a former McAfee employee, George Kurtz, in 2012. And its ownership is a mix of individual investors, institutions, and retail companies. And I already told you it's used pretty massively in the US government. So just to let you know, CrowdStrike holdings right now are estimated about 742.9 million. CrowdStrike's holdings has a total shareholder equity of 2.6 billion and total debt of 742.9 million, which brings its debt ratio to 28.9%. Its total assets and total liabilities is 6.8 billion, thus taking to 4.3 billion respectively. CrowdStrike's holdings EBIT is 24.4 million, making its interest ratio a negative 0.2. Not a profitable company, if you ask me. And does Microsoft use CrowdStrike? Well, you want to laugh? CrowdStrike has helped Microsoft develop scalable solutions that help Microsoft's Azure infrastructure accelerate a fix for CrowdStrike's faulty update. But that just sounds like, a mishmash. So my whole thing is, will people still trust CrowdStrike? And it's damaged customer trust, right? How can you go back and trust somebody that betrays you? Maybe you want to do that, right? But you can't go back to living with that same relationship, right? You just can't. How do you know that they're not going to falter or fail again? I would be upset with them. I don't know about you. I'm glad that I've made the choice not to use CrowdStrike. We use some other things, but not CrowdStrike. I'm just not impressed by them. Here's another interesting story. Congresswoman uses AI, artificial intelligence voice, clone for an address. So what am I talking about? So this is really cool because when you think about this, address basically Congresswoman Virginia and Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton. So to address Congress, Virginia Congresswoman Jenna Wexton, diagnosed with a progressive supranuclear palsy a year ago, used an AI intelligence program to address the House not too long ago, making her first person to speak on the House floor with a voice recreated by AI. This AI program allowed Jennifer Wexton, to clone her speaking voice using old recordings of her appearances and speeches in Congress. So I think that's a great use of technology. My only question is, where's that data going, and is it safe? Is it secure? And here's something that's really interesting but sad: decentralized blood collection technology. When I say it's sad, I mean this because people are going to be without jobs. Well, this new self-blood draw technology is what I like to call it. Tasso Inc. provides this patient-centric, decentralized blood collection solution for population and pharmacognetics, POP-PK studies, enhancing data density and fidelity while reducing trial subjects and improving study adherence. The Tasso device enables what they claim virtually painless at-home blood collection, integrated with flexible global logistics, bioanalytical workflows, and regulatory compliance. Tasso's approach supports high-quality support analysis for diverse investigational compounds and facilitates successful POP-PK implementation with end-to-end support, adaptable study design, and partnerships for comprehensive clinical trial execution. Now, the FDA has approved this. How does it work? Well, you get this device, okay, and you basically take out the package and you stick it to your arm. And then when it tells you, basically press the button, you feel a little pinch, they claim, little pinch, and you just sit there for 5 minutes, and it does the blood collection. So, I don't know, I'm curious about your thoughts. Do you think this is something good? Do you think it's something bad? I mean, I think it has potential. My concern is I haven't seen the numbers, and I haven't gotten the feedback to what other people think about it. Would I try it? It's too new. And I don't think I would want to be a guinea pig, because even though it's FDA approved, it's kind of like, do I download the new Apple update just because it came out? No, I don't. I wait, right? So let me know your thoughts about this, because decentralized blood collection can make it easier for some people that might have to have their blood drawn on a regular basis and not have to go to the lab. So they could do the collection, take it, and then take the piece, send it in, and the lab will be able to analyze it. I would not be a bit surprised someday soon, ladies and gentlemen, if this type of system combined with something else will be able to analyze your blood using artificial intelligence. So basically, once you collected the blood, you'll stick it into another device, press a button, it'll analyze your blood probably within, 30 seconds to a minute, and it'll give you a whole 10 or 12 page report about everything about your blood. That's where I think we're going. All right, so Google's AI ad has sparked some backlash, if you didn't know. As you guys know, the Olympics are going on till Sunday. Hopefully they don't botch this up with another closing ceremonies like they did with the opening ceremonies. I think that was just absolutely terrible, but I won't go down that path because you've heard what I had to say last week about that. So Google pulls the Dear Sydney AI ad from Olympics broadcast after a severe backlash. This is right. A recent ad for Google's Gemini AI titled, quote unquote, Dear Sydney, features a father seeking help from the AI to write a heartfelt letter on behalf of his daughter, an aspiring runner to her idol, world record holder, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Despite being pretty good with words, the father asks Gemini to craft the perfect message, which it does by expressing the daughter's admiration and desire to be just like you. The ad has sparked concerns among writers and viewers, highlighting vocational anxieties about AI replacing meaningful human tasks. Instead of using AI for mundane tasks, the ad suggests AI could take over cherished moments of personal connection, a notion some find unsettling. So I think we have to be careful with this, because AI should never be put in a situation where it's supposed to come up with feelings or respond to feelings. It shouldn't, because it's doing it on data, and people are not a numbers thing. People are about real live feeling and emotion, things that we hear, things that we see, things that we touch. We all know that the most important part of communication is what we don't say, body language. The next important thing is, what's the next important thing? Not what we say, how we say it, the tonality. And the third thing, which is the least important thing, is what we're saying. So I agree that I think a lot of these companies, and it's not so much Google, I think it might be the company they might have hired, like these marketing companies. We know what happened with the backlash that happened with Apple and the marketing company they hired. They thought it was great. And you can get good press and get bad press. When you get bad press, you really start to ruin the reputation of what you've built. And I said before, you can't rebuild trust like that. Sometimes it's not even possible to rebuild. I'll give you a quick story. So I had somebody. It was in, it was actually in high school, and the person had betrayed my trust. I was still friendly with them, but they were now not part of an immediate circle of friends. Not somebody I could trust. Not somebody I would trust with important or confidential information. They went from being immediate friends, very close, to being somebody that, I say hello, good morning, good afternoon, hey, goodbye, have a great weekend. Things that are not going to affect me or anybody else around that I care about, because that person betrayed my trust. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and there are millions of people watching the 2024 Paris Olympics for free using a VPN, a virtual private network. John, what the heck is this about? So in the United States, there are many companies that rip you off to watch the Olympics. In fact, just to let you know, the Olympic, just let you know what it is right now, the Olympic watch package in, let's say, for Paris is how much do you think it is, and what is it? So there are lots of ways that you can do this, but they actually have an Olympic channel that you can, it has coverage. So they had something called the Olympic Channel, and they're saying now that it is going away. So recently, many people got notice from Comcast that it's taking off the Olympic Channel. As a dad to a future Olympic track star, they said, this upsets me. We enjoy watching shows and documentaries about Olympics. Do you know what's going on here? So he's responded back to by somebody. The NBC-owned Olympic Channel, which has been showcased for network's exclusive coverage of the Winter and Summer Games, is ceasing operation on September 30th. In a statement released last month, NBC stated that it would provide Olympic content on other platforms this fall. NBC also owns the streaming service Peacock, with which seems to be perfect for landing spots for the Olympic Channel's mix of documentaries, live events, and highlights from past games. In order to best reach our target audiences, we are reevaluating our programming distribution strategy regarding the content that currently airs on the Olympic Channel, home of Team USA, with our partners at the IOC and the USOPC. Quote unquote, we will be announcing our exciting new plans for the Olympic content in the fall. This is upsetting. Very, very upsetting. So the question is, you can go watch some things, and people always ask me, how much does it cost to watch the Olympics in the US? So to watch the Paris Olympics in the US can be pricey. There are lots of TV lineups. There are streaming services. So, but again, the question is, how much is a streaming package to watch the 2024 Olympics? And I think what you're going to find is that it's not cheap. Okay. You can go to some streaming options, which are cheaper, like they get $7.99 per month. It went up $2 from July. It was a little bit less. But the question is, can you see everything? Or is it kind of filtered? I don't know. But you can even watch, by the way, you can even watch it on Roku. Okay. Getting into the Olympics, people ask me this all the time, John, how much, forget the airplane, how much does it cost to attend the Olympics? How much do you think it costs, ladies and gentlemen? So forget the $5,000 for the hotel, airfare, and stuff like that. But you've got the event tickets with some spending of $15,000 is what you're going to need to budget for the entire experience. That's a few bucks. And a lot of people are saying, is it really worth it? I don't know. You can stay home and watch it. So the irony is you could spend between $5,000 to $6,000 to attend the games, but you might not have an admission to everything. Okay. And by the way, the $15,000 does not include food. A round trip ticket to Paris roughly costs about $827. So that adds up. Okay. Tickets are another cost, as I said. 10 million tickets have been on sale for the Paris Olympics, an increase of more than 2 million tickets compared to the 2016 in Rio. Prices vary by event. For example, the women's artistic gymnastics all-around finals has tickets starting at 125 pounds to 690 pounds, which is about $135 to $746. The swimming semifinals and finals are similarly priced at 85 pounds to basically around $92. Men's basketball tickets for the final costs as much as 980 pounds to be around $1,059 compared to the women's 510 pounds or $551. The men's 100-meter final for Paris is about 980 pounds, which is $1,059. And the same event was 725 pounds and nearly $1,282 when accounting for inflation, which had happened when it was in London. So people have told me also before that being at the Olympics, it's not, these companies don't make money, they just get a brand. I don't know if I believe that or not. So what I want to tell you that a lot of people are doing this. They are watching the Olympics from the United States, okay, for free. What did you say, John? I said for free. So people in Paris and places outside of the U.S. and Canada can actually just U.S. Canada can watch for free. So Paris, other countries, and Canada can go online for free, and they can use or you can do it as a VPN, which is not really legal, to access international streaming services that offer free coverage for the event. Countries like the UK, Australia, Canada, the Netherlands, France, Germany, Italy, and Belgium provide free streaming through platforms such as BBC iPlayer, 9Now, CBC Gem, NOS France, TV, ARD, ZDF, RAI, and RTBF. By using a VPN to connect to a server in one of these countries, you can bypass the geo restrictions and enjoy the Olympics without a subscription to services like Peacock, Hulu, or Live TV, Opal, and watch the Olympics for free. So the thing is, in the United States, when you watch the Olympics, we're always watching it behind. If you could watch it, I think it'd be very interesting because you'd be able to see what's going on like in real time. I think that's really, really a cool thing. All right, moving on, guys. A lot more to talk about. We've got the Chinese hacking group compromising the internet service providers. I think this is really, really, really tragic. A Chinese hacking group known as Storm Bamboo infiltrated an ISP to spread malware by rerouting internet traffic through the DNS, domain name services, poisoning attack, according to cybersecurity from Velocity. And this allowed the hackers to redirect legitimate software update requests to malicious servers, distributing malware to target computers. And the incident, which involved malware, affected both Windows and Mac. So the Mac computers were not safe OSs, and highlighted the serious threat posed by such sophisticated cyber attacks and the potential vulnerabilities within ISPs. And everybody says to me, oh, if you have a Mac, you're safe. Well, you're not. It's just that right now people are not targeting Macs. But I got to be honest, there are people that are still going to target Macs, especially when they do a large ISP attack. And ladies and gentlemen, some sad news. Warner Brothers is shutting down Boomerang, its classic cartoon streaming app. Warner Brothers Discovery is shutting down its classic cartoon streaming app, Boomerang, on September 30th, 2024. Most of Boomerang's popular anime shows, such as Scooby-Doo, The Jetsons, and Looney Tunes, will be transferred to the larger streaming service, Max. There's some content. Changes may not make the move. Existing Boomerang subscriptions will be automatically transferred to Max at no additional costs. The consolidation aligns with WBD's recent streaming strategy, which includes offering a bundle with Hulu and Disney Plus and launching a new sports streaming platform called Venue. I think it's just all about more money. That's what I think it's about. I don't think it's about anything else. And the DOJ investigates Nvidia for antitrust. Hey, Nvidia, what are you doing? The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating Nvidia over potential antitrust violations related to its $700 million acquisition of an Israeli AI startup run and its dominance in the AI chip market. These investigations are focused on whether Nvidia has unfairly pressured cloud computing firms or overcharged customers who choose rival chips. Nvidia, which maintains that it competes based on merit and innovation, has expressed its willingness to cooperate with regulators. Well, they have to. If they don't, they're really going to be in deep water, hot water. Additionally, France's competition authority is conducting a similar investigation into Nvidia. And amid these legal challenges, Nvidia's stock prices has dropped significantly. Of course, it's dropped significantly. If somebody says something's going on, of course, there's a very good shot that your stock prices are going to drop because people are finding out that you shouldn't have got to where you are. It's kind of like those, .com stocks that really had nothing behind them. And then they just, fall apart in the middle of one night when nobody expected it. And OneBlood was hit by a ransomware attack. I think this is just so terrible because you're going after people's health. I mean, come on. So OneBlood is a nonprofit blood donation organization, and they were hit by a ransomware attack that has significantly reduced its operational capacity. The organization is currently working with cybersecurity experts and law enforcement to restore systems and has reverted to manual processes, unfortunately, which is slowing down operations. While OneBlood remains functional, it has requested the 250 hospitals it services to activate blood shortage protocols and has called for blood donations, especially for O positive, O negative, and platelets. These incidents highlight the growing threat of ransomware attacks in the healthcare sector. And I think the reason they do the healthcare sector is because they figure they can get a lot of money out of people. And they know if they want to stay alive, they got to pay some money. I think that's just really criminal. And shareholders sue CrowdStrike after the major outage. We already talked about the nonsense of what they did. Well, the shareholders sue CrowdStrike after the outage prompts stock prices to plummet down. Following a significant outage caused by faulty updates to its Falcon security software, CrowdStrike faces a securities class action lawsuit from shareholders, including the Plymouth County Retirement Association. The lawsuit claims that CrowdStrike misled investors by overstating the efficacy of its technology and failing to disclose issues with its software update processes. The company's stock, which had been trading at historic highs, has dropped sharply as a result. CrowdStrike maintains that the lawsuit is without merit and asserts that it is working to resolve the issues. We'll see, CrowdStrike. The incident has also drawn the attention of other potential litigants, such as Delta Airlines, which experienced disruptions due to the outage. So these companies are not happy. And I got to tell you something. I can bet that these companies are probably, if they don't see any, let's say, major changes from CrowdStrike, they're just going to, hit the road and go somewhere else. But they're still going to come after them for damages. All right. And Amazon held liable for defective product recalls. What's going on here? Yes, the U.S. agency says that Amazon is liable for improperly recalling defective products. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC, has ruled that Amazon is responsible for improperly handling recall of over 400,000 defective third-party products sold between 2018 and 2021. The CPSC's order follows claim that Amazon's recall efforts were insufficient as they failed to adequately notify the public and provide effective means for returning or disposing of hazardous items. Despite Amazon's argument that it was not liable due to its role as a third-party distributor and its provision of in-store credit instead of refunds, the CPSC demands that Amazon develop and implement a comprehensive recall plan. Amazon plans to appeal the decision, asserting that it has measures in place to address product safety. Amazon's starting to get a lot of issues. So is Google, so is Microsoft. It's like, I feel like the government, and I think it's a lot because of the European Union, them stepping in. I think this is what's getting the U.S. to get more involved because they're seeing what the European Union is doing to companies over there. And ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I want to share with you, I think is a very important thing, is these these biz outages. This is a big problem. And the challenge that I have with all this is that most people don't understand that more outages are going to occur. Let me say that again. More outages are going to occur. And everyone thinks, oh, gee, everything's fine, everything's good today. With a company like one that holds the glue together for a lot of companies, it's a problem. Big problem. And so according to the BBC, you got to watch out for the sharks. The bizarre history of the internet outages is just, it's insane, right? July 19th, the world woke up to what may have called the worst digital crisis of all time. Forget Y2K. This was like a million times worse. And even FlightAware said this was terrible. Microsoft and CrowdStrike issued a solution, but the outages continued almost a week later. It's a reminder, frustrated IT experts said, to never push updates out on a Friday. I think they should have done some testing first. And so there was a glitch in the matrix in 1997, thanks to a glitch at the company Network Solutions, one of the main registrars that issues domain names for websites. According to New York Times, a misconfigured database crashed, and every single website ending in .com or .net, it took down around 1 million sites, which at this point in history was a huge portion of the web. It was in 1997. So we're going to need a bigger cable. Sometimes the problem starts in the physical world. For a while, the entire nation of Armenia's internet connectivity depended on a single fiber optic cable running through Georgia. This is just insane. I mean, if this sounds crazy, you're right. In 2011, a 75-year-old lady took all 2.9 million Armenians offline when she sliced through that cable with a spade near the Georgian village at Kasani. The woman who was scavenging for copper at the time was arrested, but reportedly let go soon after because of her advanced age, she had told reporters. So, I think we've got to be careful A quarter of Canada's internet and phone services was knocked out in 2022 because of a failure at Rogers Communication. Okay. A real big one that happened in places where the internet connection depends on one fiber optic cable. It makes for a glaring Achilles heel. And to make this real, a lesson of the CrowdStrike event, CrowdStrike holds a massive market share, but you can lose it just as fast as you gained it. And so, we had the cyber attack that sent an Alaskan community back in time. Google just updated its algorithm. The internet will never be the same after that. Why your internet habits have changed? Well, because what's being done online is different than what used to be done online. There's a lot more happening in our world. We're depending on things more. But as you open the pipe up wider, I remember the day when we were only getting dial-up. And I remember when I had gotten a digital modem, okay? And in order to have digital, you basically had to have the 56, you had to have the two digital ends. And 56.6 was really using 28.8 connection, but all it was doing was it was using compression to get it to be a lot better. But it was a lot harder to use 56.6 because if things were not correct and you were calling an old modem, it was like crazy. You probably remember Hayes and the different command sets and things like that. That was crazy. Thinking that we used to do dial-up at 300, then 600, then 900, then 1200, then 2400, then 3600, right? 58. Remember we had 58 modem speeds. 2400 baud was the speed, right? Baud speeds they changed. They changed over time. But going 56, a 56 modem, you basically had 1200, which was pretty standard. You had 4800, you had 2400, you had 9600, and then the 56.6 modem. And that came because of the Bell 103 standard and all they did, right? People didn't realize what was happening. So what I want to share with you it's called the 56K modem. What I want to share with you is that, you see, with doing all these things, right, as we increase that pipe, when I had a pipe that was only 14.4 for the longest time, doing AOL dial-up, which I know was crazy. And you all remember when you would dial, you'd hear it, even when I had gotten to the speeds of, I think it was like before we had 56.6, because I couldn't get that right away because the phone company's lines weren't able to support it. I was staying at like the 33.6 for a while. And to get 56.6, you had to have everything tweaked just right. The flow had to be on, the X on, X off, the RTS, everything had to be just perfect. And if it wasn't, it was a disaster. So what I'm saying is when I went from that speed and the more that I went up and then, we got faster, right? So then we started getting, I remember we started getting into like, 10 megabits, right? Which was, so great back then, right? Then we got to 50. Then we're 100. Now we can even get all the way up to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So as we get the pipe to be larger, okay, not only do we get a more immersive experience, but also threats can come at us faster. So that's why it's important to have intelligent solutions that actually will be able to proactively, not just retroactively, they take action before something happens and they monitor. Reactive means that it takes action when something has happened. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now, don't you? Sure you do. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege and pleasure to be with you on the JMOR Tech Talk Show, which, by the way, we are in our third year, Series 3, Show 32. Great to be with you guys. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to catch you guys next week, which is going to be August 16th. And we're going to have another great show. In the meantime, check out all my other great content at BelieveMeAchieve.com. And I'll see you guys real soon. If you guys don't see me first, all right? Be well, everyone. And remember, technology is not good. It's not bad. It's a tool. How we choose to use it makes it so. Have a good one, everyone.